show. So let's get to it now that I'm back from the Great North Woods. And so one of the things we got coming here is you always want to make sure you know what day it is. And so we're coming into the end of the month. So it's exhaustion week. So we got earnings coming out. So SPY itself not doing too much. You see we got our inside day here to the upside today. And so when you get towards the end of the month, you always want to look at the type of bar you're dealing with. So we're green, yes, and it's a 3-2 outside to the upside. So it's still positive here in the greater broadening formation, as we know. Here, you're just exhaustionist trying to use this broadening formation here to keep going. But next month, if we back off at all, it's not hard to take out either side of this thing. So for right now, slow grinder. And who hates slow grinders? I'll tell you who does. VXX. Back to the lows, which is of all time. So we'll keep pounding this thing, and hopefully by the end of the year we get another reverse split and pop her back up. So that's what happens when you get the grind. Because a lot of the misconception is that the VIX and the VIX products hate an up market. They don't hate an up market. They hate a boring market, because in an up market people are still going to hedge those gains, right? But on the when they're sitting there doing nothing, there's no reason to hedge or do anything. So that's when the VXX really falls apart. So for this week, we'll see what we can dig up. Coming out of the ashes, or at least trying to, on the weeklies, you have some of these bios have been sitting here doing nothing forever. So BIIB came out with some earnings and gives you this. It's an inside week to the upside, and you can see it's been stuck in here forever, all right, forever. So we'll see. It does take out all of this stuff here in one shot, but you start off the week. This is what you want to see. So you got a gap, and you're going to have to get outside of that. Regeneron with that. And here's what you look for on here to take out the range, the 2, and then this becomes a compound 3 outside bar of all of them. And then if you go to the monthly, what that's doing is coming up, setting up potential rev strat inside monthly and then back in here. And that's being caused by the inside weaken up. So on the inside weaken up here, we're going to look at something like this. And like this. And so oftentimes you hear me say, what's the next 2 will that cause negate or do? And so when you have this coming up here with the less than, just about a week to go on the month, it sets this up to try and go after this monthly next month, right? So that's what you want to be able to identify. What will the chart look like if something works? So Regeneron trying to wake up a little bit here too. The Goldman Sachs and the financials. So we've been watching this weekly forever, and there you go. There's your 2-2 reversal right here. 2 down, 2 up, and boom, 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 and 3. So trying to get out of there is Goldman Sachs. Let me do this real quick. Is Goldman Sachs. And so Goldman Sachs, then if you go to the monthly, here, this is the greater. This is the greater broadening formation, which actually comes from down into here. And now it's trying to get out of here and start powering back through previous ranges, what we like. So we can keep an eye on Goldman Sachs. You have the FAS coming up here a little bit better with JP Morgan inside month to the upside, just running out a month. But a nice day for the banks here, so we'll see if that keeps going. You got Bank of America weekly doing this, and you can see this here. Like so, back through the try she goes, and now Momo Hammer weekly coming up, and you can watch the cities and all that kind of stuff. I think Northern Trust had a good day today, trying to. There you go. And little guys were going here too. FitB was going, so you can watch some of that KRE. Capital One, and here you go. Triangle been watching and get up into here. Capital One also takes out the inside month, just running out a month. And the weekly here. Triangle them out, stop them out, and then the 2-2 hammer back up. So we'll see if we get follow through on that. We got Visa earnings coming out, so we'll see how that relates to any of this. And you got DFS doing the same. And so trying to go back here. You can see this is better going into the highs, coming off of this. All right, a lot of other ones coming down off of the here or in the middle. Something like DFS going highs just has exhaustion risk, and maybe even E-Trade Financial. E-Trade. Just keeping an eye on this baby here. So you got this. And you got that. Like so, broadening formation. So you can watch that with the mirror trades and the Schwabs and see if they start going, ripping back through there. Start off the week also. SMH, your winner so far. Nice and green going after the new highs. Here you go. 2 days going up, and we got some earnings coming out in there, so we'll see. And you got the likes of your LRCXs. That is a doji day, huh? Okay, we'll see. KLAC, Xilinx, the usual suspects. Xilinx having 2 nice days there, and NVIDIA here went inside day and up. So I can watch all those together because so far so good for them. CTRP. China Talk's going well, so we'll see how that had a nice day there. And once again, you always want to make sure you're taking something out. There you go. Taking last month's highs out and going back up. And that was a nice inside day for you to take that. So we'll see that goes. So you got a little bit of Baidu trying to wake up here too. Baidu's been sleeping forever, but what you do have is coming back through a previous range like so. That's what you want to do, because anybody short is short against something like here or here or here or here or here or here or wherever they got short. And that's why you want to come back through previous ranges. CEVA and SIVA does this. Monthly, inside month to the upside. And you also like to come back into outside bars because that's a broadening formation on a shorter term time frame. And you're coming back through there. Had a nice day today, as you can see. So we'll see CEVA. AutoNation. AutoNation, gap and run a little bit, so you're going to have to get outside of that. But hanging near this, and AutoNation on the giant here looks like this. Big monthly trying to come back up through this. LK knew the Luckin Coffee inside month to the upside, just running out a month, but has had a nice few days. And this is what you look for on a Tuesday, things that they're buying, because if they're going to go up 5 days in a row, they got to start by going up 2. And it doesn't mean they are, but that's why we track this stuff, because obviously there's a buyer in there. It's a matter of how aggressive they stay. Marriott, here's another try you can keep an eye on. Like so, trying to come back through here, so keep an eye on that. On the downside, we got a little bit more going on the downside, even though the market's going up, and that's kind of good, because what that means is should the market back off, and start dropping, we've already got some things in trouble. Travelers, for one, and you can see potentially you could try them out. Here you can see this. Potentially this could just, this could be it, and you take that out and then up into here. But for right now, what it does do is you want to know about anybody taking out last week's lows. When the market's going up, that's something you'd want to know about, because you've got some other, I believe, insurers in there too. HIG, to a lesser extent, Chubb. So these guys going down. There's RevStrat weak, inside, down. Still tight ranges in general up in here, but you just want to be aware of any group that's doing anything as well. Home builders, ITB, taking out last week's lows, and so you got some problems over there too so far. And you've got Lennar. Keep an eye on Pulte, getting hit harder, Toll Brothers. All the usual suspects in there too. So those things taking out those lows. LGIH, bit of a mover for you. Okay, so simultaneous break of the inside weeks, or not inside, but 2 weeks down in that group. Jack in the Box having some issues here too. And Jack in the Box, you can see this. Triangle that. Up into there, and now it's some exhaustion risk since he's come back through the previous range. So if you look at the monthly, this is what gives you the indication that was going to happen. The 2 up, and then boom, right there. Take out last month's lows, and boom, you come back, stop them all out through here. So we'll see if there's any more follow through on that. BMRN. So you got some of the bios going up and some going down, and BMRN has been in a tight range for a long time, but you do have taking out the inside week to the downside. Log me in here, 2 up, 2 down week. Not doing too much on the month, but anytime you're coming back to a previous range, you've got my attention. With full time frame count, you can see the downside. Bloodbath, all over but the crying for this thing. This has really been a rough haul here. So just going into new lows, so you have exhaustion risk, but certainly having a rough go of it. With Kroger. And Kroger, we call this on the monthly the Momo Shooter. I think it's going up. Do you? Boom. Where are the stops down here? So you got a little bit more to go after this stuff in here. Dollar Tree or retail. And Dollar Tree inside month, so not the end of the world. But you are taking out last week's lows. And you can see this coming back through here like that. So you've taken most of this out. So like I said, exhaustion risk anytime you're going through that range, it would have to continue on this stuff here. But you did take all this stuff out. You got Dollar General doing it too. You can see they stopped them out here. So the question is this going to be it when you come down and take this out and have your broadening formation? But for this week, it's still shooter down. It just took a bunch of these guys out. We'll see if they reload on that. Autodesk. Autodesk just slightly tries to take it out, but you can keep an eye on that. We did have this daily today, 312 down. Didn't really fall apart, so we'll see. Utilities, EXC having some issues here. And that's weekly taking out last week's lows. It's also shooter on the month coming down on there. And if you look at XLU a little better inside month. And for the week, though, it is taking that out, and that's what helps accelerate the ones that are already hurting. ANET. ANET, this is another thing we want to look for since we know outside bars exist. When it takes out this, potentially outside bar of that. And on the daily, we knew about this try here too. You had your 2 up, 2 down reversal on that. And back into the previous range she goes. So you can keep an eye on this thing for sure. BGS. And BGS daily, you can see this just dumping into the lows. You got exhaustion risk because you're going into the lows, but it is what it is so far. Weak. ACAD. Gapper today, so we'll see if they've exhausted that with the gap. But it is still coming back through the bigger range of this. So we'll see if there's anything to it. INCY. And INCY still inside month. And you've got your outside week here. So it already did the outside week thing. We're just going to see if it accelerates here as it goes out. Takes all this stuff out here. We'll see if it's weak enough to start coming after these guys down in here. And ITCI, So these guys, the drugs don't work. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on this, see if this is a zero or not. Celgene. And Celgene green on the day here, so not total death here, but it is below last week's lows. And you're finishing off the outside month to the downside. So we'll see if anything more comes of that. LW setting up the shooter monther in the week, takes it out and comes back to the previous range after stopping these guys out. It's like so's. And pretty hard hit day, but you can see this is what you want. We call it the pivot machine gun, coming back through the previous range. And we long this thing is long against some of this stuff, if not all of it, and where they got in. So we'll see if anything comes of LW. The Walmart. And the Walmart takes the week down. Two week down, 2 up, 2 down, and setting up the monthly shooter if they want to bring her in. VEEV. VEEV, setting up monthly shooter for the new month. You still got some days on that, but you did take this week back down to the downside, and we'll see if it's weak enough on the daily to come back through something like this would be nice. There, if they really want to get her going. Team. And Team just moved down, slightly takes that week, or tries to, and pops back up a little bit. But the monthly's setting up the shooter here, so we'll see if anything comes of that. If you go to the daily and take it out a bit, you're going to see something like this. Like so. If you can get back down through here, it would be fun. W Day. And W Day has this stuff in here. You take these guys out. And the weekly here. Like so, trying to take the inside week, I believe. 15, yep, inside week to the downside. So this would be below 212.34 at this point, to stay down below that. ALGN. That's just slightly inside weakened down. You'll see if that accelerates as long as that stays below 279.99. So I'm going to leave it at that since we got exhaustion risk and all that kind of stuff, and basically staying on a lot of earnings since this is earnings big earnings week. So stay on that, and you can get to me on Twitter at Robin the Black, and I'll tweet out those morning gappers I'm keeping an eye on. Tweeting all day. And you can also click the All-Star link right here on this broadcast if you want to come see me. I'll change your life if you're not with us already. All right. Everybody have a good night. If it's Tuesday, it's the Wheels in Motion show, and I'm Rob Smith in the Black Quant VTF here at T3 Live.